You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Happy January 16th. We've made it past that initial New Year's sprint.
We have.
But we are deep in that slump where every single ad is yelling, "New year, new you. Time to redesign your entire career."
It's exhausting, isn't it? And all the material we've been looking at just confirms that this pressure is exactly what leads to, well, regret.
Oh, absolutely.
January is just a terrible time for huge creative decisions. People are graying. This is the season for, reflecting, maybe cleaning up some admin, not for a radical pivot.
Right, so we're taking the pressure off. Instead of trying to reinvent yourself, we're just going to give you a really tactical snapshot of the design and product landscape as it is right now.
And this is such a critical moment, especially for what we talk about on Product Thursdays. The material highlights these two massive overlapping tensions.
Okay.
First, the definition of a designer is fundamentally changing because AI has automated so much of the execution part.
The craft.
Exactly. And second, designers have to learn, and I mean urgently learn, how to translate their work into business language, revenue, cost, risk, or they'll just lose their influence.
Okay, so let's unpack that first one then. The AI tectonic shift in our actual daily workflows.
Yeah.
Because this isn't theoretical anymore.
No, not at all. Look at what Adobe has done, integrating OpenAI's GPT image 1.5 right into Firefly.
That was a huge move.
It's a huge economic shift. They had that window of unlimited image generation for pro users, but that closed on the 15th. Now everyone, free standard pro, is on a monthly generative credits model.
So it's being positioned not as a fun little toy, but as a metered utility.
Precisely. It's a normalized part of the creative stack now.
And what's really fascinating is Adobe's long game here. People are calling it design after the prompt.
I like that phrase.
It's this admission that just prompting is, well, it's messy. The goal now is to move from that chaotic ideation to systematic orchestration.
Using the tools, but keeping them on the rails of your brand integrity. And they're leaning heavily on the Content Authenticity Initiative, the CAI, to do that.
For verification and transparency.
Yeah. When you generate something in Firefly, it's tied back to your brand. Its origin can be verified. This directly addresses the risk side of that business equation we were just talking about.
Speaking of immediate business impact, that story about Tailwind Labs is, it's just staggering.
An 80% revenue drop. It's almost unbelievable.
They laid off 75% of their engineers because AI agents just got so good at answering developer questions.
And the irony is the usage of their CSS framework is still growing. Developers love it, but the commercial model just collapsed.
Because the AI was so good at answering basic questions, nobody needed to visit their site anymore. Traffic dropped 40%.
And that traffic was their entire monetization strategy. It's
Wow.
a wild story of growing utility leading to, well, commercial collapse.
So if AI is hollowing out the very infrastructure of these tools, how do platforms fight back? How do they maintain control?
They fight back by securing the data layer. Which brings us to platforms like PenPot. They're experimenting with something called MCP servers.
Okay, let's slow down on the acronyms. What is the core problem that MCP, the Model Context Protocol, is trying to solve?
So PenPot is built on this idea of design as code. The designs are functional components, not just static pictures. But the problem is security. You can't just let an AI like Claude access all your secret design files.
Right, that would be a disaster.
So the MCP server is the security layer. It lets the AI interact with the design files through an API to do useful things like check for consistency or generate documentation.
So the AI gets the context it needs to be useful, but not the actual proprietary content itself. It's a very clever way to keep control.
It is the future of tooling control, absolutely.
And just a quick note on creation tools before we move on. Google VO 3.1. It now has an ingredients to video feature, and it specifically supports 4K upscaling for vertical video.
Which just shows the tools are being constrained by real-world formats. They're not just generating aimlessly, they're optimizing for shorts and reels.
Exactly. So let's pivot now from generation to interaction, because the interface itself is what's changing so fast. We're moving into the era of ambient AI in UX.
And if you think about traditional software, it's reactive, right? You click a button, it does a thing.
Right.
Ambient AI is the opposite. It works proactively in the background using contextual signals, your location, your behavior, time of day, to anticipate what you need before you even ask.
I have to be honest, I already hate it when my phone anticipates my typing. So how do I build any genuine trust in something that's always guessing what I want?
And that is the core design challenge. It's what separates a good ambient experience from a really frustrating one. Designers have to balance that automation with user control.
So transparency is key.
Vital, but it has to be subtle. You don't want pop-ups every 5 seconds. You need these small cues that explain the why behind an action. And, most critically, the action must be predictable and instantly reversible. If I can't undo what the system did for me, trust is just gone, instantly.
This question of interface and trust, it leads us right to the biggest hardware rumor out there. Jony Ive and Sam Altman. They're reportedly developing an AI audio device.
The reports are very specific, an earpiece that sits behind the ear.
Not in it.
Behind it. Featuring a next-gen 2-nanometer chip, all designed to leverage ChatGPT for voice assistance. The goal is clearly to bypass Siri for more complex tasks.
A 2-nanometer chip is, that's incredibly advanced. What does that tell us about what they're trying to do?
It tells you it's designed for ultra-low power and always-on listening. That chip size is the key to doing constant, complex language processing without killing the battery. They want to make the interaction layer invisible.
Can it really differentiate itself from AirPods? We are saturated with really, really good audio tech. Is this just tech for tech's sake?
That is the exact skepticism everyone has, and it connects to this bigger trend. Designers needing to prioritize tech's off switch.
The off switch.
Yes. Consumer fatigue with always-on AI is real. People are demanding clear opt-outs. They want agency over these features. The desire for a purposeful, intentional design is coming back.
That idea of purposeful design is so powerful. It reminds me of that fan-made Lego set that recreates the Apple calculator's design evolution over 40 years.
It's a brilliant analogy for this. It shows the sheer persistence of human judgment over 4 decades. You see it go from the original Jobs-approved black and white GUI
all the way to the modern, minimalist, circular button design.
Which is so clearly influenced by Dieter Rams and the Braun aesthetic. It's a 40-year journey for a calculator. It just proves that the principles of functional simplicity endure, no matter how powerful the chip is.
It's about the conscious decision to simplify.
Exactly, and that brings us perfectly to that second big tension. If AI can handle the execution and the chip can handle the power, where does the designer's value actually lie? It has to be strategic. So let's talk about the money.
Let's shift gears then. You mentioned that one of the biggest challenges for designers is translating their work into tangible business value.
It's a huge problem. Design often gets sidelined because as a profession, we haven't learned to explain our impact in business outcomes. We talk about user delight or better engagement.
But you're subjective.
Totally subjective. But if AI is automating our execution, our value has to shift to defining the right problems and proving their financial return.
So why is this a crisis right now? This has always been an issue.
Because the automation of execution just accelerates the need for strategic clarity. If execution is cheap and fast, the decisions guiding it have to be rock solid. You have to translate user delight into this will increase revenue by X or this reduces our risk by Y.
So if you, as a listener, want to have agency, if you want to push for social impact, for example, you have to build an unassailable business case for it first.
You do. You have to align your ideas with KPIs and find allies who speak the language of the CFO. And this is where the human element comes roaring back. As AI gets more efficient, authenticity becomes a key differentiator, a core business strategy.
The idea of showing your workings.
Yes, it's exactly like the arts and crafts movement responding to the Industrial Revolution.
History repeating itself.
Absolutely. When mass production made everything cheap, they showcased the hammer marks, the visible joints to reclaim value. Now we showcase human judgment, iteration, critical thinking. That's the valuable stuff.
We see this playing out in rebranding. The Pelagoni Seaside Club is a great case study. Their offer was just confusing.
It was. And the agency solved it by stripping it back to one simple idea: summer freedom. The execution felt real, sun-faded visuals, photos of actual guests, and they revamped the booking tools to feel effortless. Clarity became their business lever.
Now, contrast that with the No Fear Sport rebrand. It was the definitive 90s youth brand, all chaotic graphics and attitude.
And now it's back as this minimalist, neutral, Gen Z-friendly identity.
Which is way more marketable, sure. but it feels like they sacrificed the soul of it?
That's the strategic trade-off.
Yeah.
They neutralize their brand identity to gain market access. And this is really a vocal technologist moment because we're linking that emotional design output directly to the hard strategic choices a business has to make.
Okay, let's bring this back down to the individual creative, the person listening right now, who might be feeling a bit vulnerable. Because the job market is tough.
It is. We're seeing more people pushed into freelancing because of layoffs, and that forced freelancing comes with a real mental health cost.
Right.
Those who felt they had little other choice report much worse mental health. The stress is immediate, falling incomes, that AI anxiety, and just professional loneliness.
So for those people who feel trapped, maybe stuck in one industry like healthcare UX, what's the way out? What's the path to mobility?
The path is reframing your skills. Designers feel pigeonholed, but they have these incredibly valuable horizontal skills that AI can't replicate.
Like systems thinking.
Systems thinking, enterprise UX, managing organizational change, balancing technical constraints. The solution is to frame your experience around those horizontal strengths. That's how you break out of the box.
And as we're designing these new systems, we have to talk about the ethics of it all. Specifically, designing for dopamine.
This is all about accountability. We know digital products are built on reward loops and variable rewards. Infinite scroll, gamification, they're designed to maximize engagement.
Sometimes at the expense of the user's well-being.
Yep, often at their expense. And if we're now orchestrating AI agents, we have to make sure they aren't just amplifying addictive behaviors. The ethical warning is clear. Overuse leads to manipulation and burnout. We have to design for balance, not dependence.
Which circles us all the way back to your point from the very beginning. If you're listening and feeling that pressure to make a huge career pivot right now, don't.
Please don't. Take our permission. The data shows January is a terrible time for it. We're drained, we're pressured. Use this month for low-effort reflection. Clean up your desk, restart your brain gently. Wait until spring.
That is some genuinely actionable advice. So what does this all boil down to? It seems like design in 2026 is less about flawless execution and more about orchestration.
Orchestrating AI, orchestrating business value, and orchestrating the user's focus and well-being. The next great leap is to move beyond just executing prompts and become the architect of that human-AI collaboration.
Bridging the gap between what's technically feasible and what's genuinely human.
That's the job. That strategic judgment cannot be automated.
So here's a final thought for you to consider this month while you're reflecting, not pivoting. If the future of design is about providing that off switch and proving authenticity, how will you redesign your own portfolio this year? How will you show the human labor, the judgment, and the expertise behind every prompt to your next client? Because that is the work that's truly worth building.
Spoken Tech for your ears.